The cooperative movement plays a key role in Africa's socio-economic development, especially during the current hard economic times. Now, the Pan-African Confederation that brings together cooperative savings and credit unions on the continent is working hard to ensure that the movement becomes better and better in transforming lives. The leadership of the Confederation, which is also known as ACOSCA, is on a benchmarking mission in the US. Its executive director, George Ombado, explains what the trip is all about.
We want to see that the continent uses a credit union, a Sacco business model to empower their people. If you come to a space like in the United States of America, where the biggest credit union today globally is the Navy Federal Credit Union, membership of 10 million plus, asset base of 170 billion US dollars, that should make us think within the continent of Africa. Why will it be that those within the developed world still believe the Sacco model can work? I know at times people question the Sacco business model in the continent. They have governance issues. But that's why at COSCA, we are at the forefront to support the regulatory regime, support the regulatory framework. So as we speak today, we are in Washington, D.C. with a group of regulators from Uganda, Botswana, South Africa, and Malawi. We've selected a couple of credit union or Sacco leaders from 3 Saccos in Africa to be part of this delegation. One of the things that we want to get from here is how has the regulatory regime evolved in the United States of America, and how can we, as a continent of Africa, try and pick the lessons that we will use to support our people through regulatory environment.
So which organizations or which Saccos or who are you accompanied with?
So the mission that we are in, we decided to pick the Saccos that we believe have followed regulatory regime and are considered globally within our space or continental within our space as doing the right thing, but they could do better. So we have in Kenya, we have Stima Sacco, and we have the Police Sacco, the CEO and the chair, and for Stima, we have a representative from the board. When it comes to Malawi, we have United Civil Servant, which is the fastest growing Sacco in the Southern Bloc, with 48,000 membership at the moment. We have the CEO being represented in this particular meeting. The rest are regulators.
Are you on a benchmarking mission, meetings here and there, or it's an event you're attending?
We are on a benchmarking mission. We are going to meet NCUA, which is the oldest regulatory framework in the world, the National Credit Union Administration. It's a government body. We are going to meet the board and the CEO. We are also going to meet the Supervisory Regulatory Institute, which is mainly the association of all the leagues in the United States. We are meeting the board and the senior management to take us through how they've operated in this past couple of years.
America is doing quite well when it comes to Saccos. I didn't know. I thought Saccos are uniquely African.
Well, surprisingly, in Africa, Saccos were brought in by the Canadians in 1958. The first Sacco was established in the Republic of Ghana. It's a Sacco called Girapa Sacco. It's still there up to date. Kenya, Tanzania were known to have had the first cooperative movements. But when you look at the financial cooperatives, yes, America, Northern America is pretty strong in this particular space. Mm-hmm. And the top five Saccos in US, if you talk about the Navy Federal, School First, which is the teachers Sacco in US is number 5, School First. They have a membership of 1.8 million members at the moment, an asset base of 50 billion US dollars plus. That is quite significant. In fact, Alex, there's some people who've never gone into a commercial bank. They're 65 years old. They've never stepped into a commercial bank. They've always used their financial choice has always been through the Sacco. But maybe it is because they have systems. And that is why we are here. We are here to see that when we engage with regulators, are we able to encourage our people to develop the right framework so that it builds confidence for people to say, you can be in a commercial bank, yes, but the Saccos can serve you better.
Give us an overview of what to expect, some of the major activities or events Acosta is organizing between now and maybe the next 1 year, and which countries will these events be held?
We plan to have the next 2 weeks, we are going to Australia, again, meeting the leadership in Australia, Brisbane, looking at the model. And our interest in Australia is because Australia at some point adopted a framework whereby the credit union or the Saccos were converting into banks, but that failed. So we don't want our people in Africa to get into that particular model where they tend to think that they can be like banks. We want Saccos to remain Saccos and banks to be banks. Other activities that we are doing then in this particular space for next year, we are having a program we call the Development Educators Program, bringing different people across the continent, 48 participants from 15 countries. We'll be having that training in Kenya, and the next one will be in May in Botswana. We'll also be having other excellent programs happening. The Regional Forum for East Africa will be in Uganda. The Regional Forum in the first quarter of the year. The Regional Forum bringing all the Saccos in the sector in Southern Bloc will be in Zimbabwe. And for West Africa, we are going to meet in Sierra Leone, which is around May next year. But we have other visits to support our exchange initiatives, which will be in the Western world again. They'll go to Canada, engagement in Asia, Caribbean, and back again to US and Europe. We rely on the government to employ, but the Sacco business model, like has happened in most of these developed countries, provide with an opportunity to help the young people or people get into income generating activities. And that is why we as a COSCA, we are trying to professionalize the credit union across the continent for that particular purpose. We play a role in empowering people. 1.4 billion people, significantly. If you can empower most of them through the Sacco business model, I think the continent will have played our role. We cannot change the world within our space, but within our communities, we will have played a significant role on what we're doing.